Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Charlton Live, sponsored by PSF Steel Limited. My name is Louis Mendes. Hope you guys are well on your Sunday morning. On today's show, then we'll be looking back at yesterday's 1-0 defeat up at Birmingham City. Joining me so far to do this first up is Mr. Tom Willing. How you doing, Tom?
Yeah, I'm not bad, mate. I'm not bad considering the game yesterday. Yeah. But I'm here. That's the main thing. Unlike Benji.
Yeah, but Tom is very much present, which is one of the main things we require from our Charlton Live people. But Ben Cloak is going to join us later on in the show as well. He's not here just yet. So on today's show, then we'll look back at the game with Blues. We'll hear the goal very shortly. We'll hear from the Addicts boss Nathan Jones. We're going to hear from the skipper Greg Docherty as well. I want to hear from you guys. Morning, everyone in the chat. All hell let loose says morning all. News neutral this weekend. Losing to Birmingham, offset by the departure of Andy Scott. Overall, I guess I'm happy. Morning, all hell. Morning, Mike Salmon's in there. Mickey Paul, John's in there. Spamfish Arno. Let us know your thoughts on yesterday's game. Everyone who joins us in the chat. Where did it go wrong? Were you surprised by the levels of Birmingham? Did you think we looked a little bit off the pace? Anything like that? And also, I guess you want to react to the departure of Andy Scott, which we'll talk about later on in the show as well. You can email us, studio@charltonlive.co.uk. You can tweet us at Charlton Live, or you can add a live comment in the chat. Before we hear the goal, Tom, so beaten 1-0 up at Birmingham. Obviously the team that are going to win the league. I think, you know, for all what we said going into the game, thinking, this could be a really good game and a good test. I think we fell a little bit short there, and we saw there was a bit of a gap between the two sides.
A little bit, yeah. Not as much as I was expecting. I know you and I had a little bit of a chat about this, and obviously there's been plenty of chippy Birmingham fans on social talking about it after the game. I didn't think there was a million miles between the two sides, really. But as you pointed out, maybe that's because they had other gears that they just didn't need to go into. I think the real problem was that we didn't really turn up, and that's what I said after the game. I felt like we were poor. And I don't know if we were just off it or whether they made us look not as good as we have been. And that's the kind of thing that I haven't quite landed on yet, deciding whether we were poor because it was Birmingham were good or made us poor, or just that we had an off day. If it's the fact that Birmingham made us poor, that's slightly more worrying because we're obviously playing a lot of other teams around that level. Whereas if we just had an off day and we bounced back, then that's fine. So yeah, I went up there just hoping we'd compete with them a little bit more, really. I'd be interested. I see John, who we had on in the chat again, and I'd be interested to see what his take of it was as well. But realistically, look, they're 19 points or whatever it is ahead of us for a reason. I know the money thing, but beyond all that, you know, they are top of the league. They're going to win this league. And they beat us at home 1-0. And, you know, that's the story of the game, really. So, yeah, there are some positives we can take from yesterday, but it wasn't a good performance from our side. I didn't think some disappointing performances all round, really. And we just didn't really pressure them enough. We didn't test them enough. So going into a very tough run of fixtures, we have to hope that that's a one-off, and hopefully we can pick it back up again against Exeter next weekend. And if we can and just write this off as a bit of a blip, then good. But if this becomes a pattern now, then that's a bit of a concern, I think.
Lovely stuff. Well, let's have a listen back to the goal then from Charlton TV. Brownie was alongside Greg and Terry.
Godden releases Jones again on the left-hand side. Lovely ball inside to Campbell when he couldn't control it. And Clara manages to guide the ball back to his keeper, who sends it, skied it left. It's kept in by Laird. And then Stansfield also keeps it in, and Coventry slips over, and Stansfield's on his way up towards the Charlton penalty area. Gets his shot away and scores. Into the roof of the net. Maynard Brewer couldn't get there, and it all stemmed from the ball that Laird kept in on this Birmingham right. And Coventry challenging with Stansfield ended up in the heap on the floor, and it allowed the Birmingham striker in on goal. And he dispatched his shot past Maynard Brewer to give Birmingham the lead.
Yeah, I'm going to give him an enormous amount of credit, Stansfield, because he only had one thing on his mind, and that was to drive at our goal, take on the defender and get his shot away, and he did that with aplomb. But we've had a little bit of an unfortunate slip there from Coventry, but I think he was done anyway, trying to shepherd it out of play, and perhaps he should have just dealt with it. But Gillespie was caught in two minds because you've got three runners off the shoulder, and all you can do in that instance as a defender is try and show the opponent outside, make the shot come from distance. And what I would say to you is, it's a decent strike from where he struck it from. I mean, you're forcing him out. You're still thinking we were all right here, and it's gone into the roof of the net. 3 or 4 yards in from that left-hand post.
There we go. That's the goal on Charlton TV yesterday with Brownie and Tell. Talk about the goal itself. I guess Tom probably be a good place to start. You know, obviously Connor sort of lost out a little bit on halfway there. I think the ball hadn't stuck up top just before that, which was a bit of a pattern in that first half, and if we're being honest, for quite a large spell of the second half as well. Connor's obviously tried to see it out. Stansfield, to be fair to him, has battled away. Connor slipped, charged towards goal. Gillespie trying to close him down, but he was able to get the ping off, and it's a good finish, top corner. As Brownie said, it's a little bit inside the post maybe, but yeah, what was your view on the build up to the goal?
Yeah, if I want to look at it from the Charlton side first, a couple of mistakes. As you say, TC didn't hold it up. I think that was one of TC's poorest games for us in a while. I feel a bit sorry for him. He's clearly exhausted. I said that the other night on Tuesday. I was surprised he started again, given how tired he's looked. I just think he needs a break, not because he's playing badly, but just because he's exhausted. Then it goes to Coventry, who, needs to do better. I know he slips, but he gets that wrong. And then could Gillespie do a little bit more? I don't know. He's doing all the right things in terms of where he's trying to force him. And then maybe Maynard Brewer gets closer. So that's the Charlton side. On the other side, a £15 million striker has picked it up just inside our half, carried it the length of the field and smashed it into the top corner. So from their side, it's a very, very good goal. So I don't want to take anything away from Stansfield. I don't know if we've got a single player that could do something like that. So it was a great finish and fair play to him. But those are the sort of mistakes that just haven't really crept in too much in recent weeks. Obviously, there was the Gillespie one at Blackpool, and the odd one or two, but largely we've not really looked like letting a team through like that. And they had several opportunities like that throughout that first half. There was obviously the one that curled from the edge of the box just wide as well. There was a shot from the edge of the 6-yard box that probably they should have done better. There was obviously the chance with Ashley luckily gathered it from the edge of his box within the area. So, there were plenty of opportunities for them. And again, I just don't know. I suspect it's because Birmingham are a better side than us, probably. But it just felt like the Charlton we've seen in recent weeks wouldn't be performing like that. And as I say, maybe it's just down to how good Birmingham were. I don't know. It didn't feel like that during the game. It just felt like we were off. But, a brilliant finish from a player, as I say, who's playing way below his level, and we all know that, and that's why he's being paid what he's being paid. So they've bought him as an investment for the Championship. That's what he'll prove to be, but he's finding this league far too easy, and it's not a surprise, is it really?
Yeah, great finish it was. Glad to say they're now joined by Ben Cloak on the bottom of the screen. Good morning, Ben. How's it going?
Morning. Yeah, sorry about that. I couldn't find any headphones that would work because I'm using a different laptop. So yes, apologies, but I'm all good. Hope you guys are. And yeah, guess I'll filter into the conversation where we're at in the game.
Yeah, well, I want to first of all just give us your views overall on yesterday's performance. Obviously, 1-0 defeat up at Birmingham, the side that clearly are going to go on and win this league. But I mean, what did you make of our display?
I thought we defended really well. I thought we pressed them really well. I thought overall we can't be too disheartened by the performance because, as I just heard Tom say there, they've capitalised on our mistake. Really good finish. And overall, did they have many chances? You can say in that first half, Ash made a decent stop. The other one was that free kick that hit the bottom of the post. But look, they were happy to keep it at 1-0 and kept us at arm's length, especially in that first half and the start of the second half. I think things changed when we brought on a couple subs with Gilbert and Liban, I think, having a couple of chances with a couple of balls he put in. But yeah, overall, we didn't deserve to get anything from the game, which sounds a bit harsh because I think if you look at it, they didn't really trouble Ash or Will that much. But we didn't really trouble their keeper enough, did we, really? I mean, Kanu's shot at goal was probably our only shot on target. We had a couple that just went past the post. But yeah, I think overall, it was just we were lacking that quality. There were a couple times in the game where our passing was a bit off. Our first touch was a bit off. I remember Berry had if he just would have done a quick, nice touch, stopped it, turned in the box, thought he would have had a good chance, but he didn't. We were just lacking that quality, and fair play to them because they nullified our qualities. They nullified Thierry Small. Tyrese couldn't really get in there, and then his confidence waned during the game. So overall, I'm not too disheartened, but please, we come away and we can have keep our heads held high because it was only 1-0 and they only had like 2 big chances in the game.
But like I say, I wonder how much of that was the fact that they didn't really have to get out of second gear, particularly in that second half. I think in the first half they had 2 or 3 chances. Obviously, we've spoken about the goal. The thing that really stood out for me, I mean, we couldn't lay a glove on them all game, Tom. Even in the second half, where we had a little bit more when Gilbert and Leeburn came on, and as Ben mentioned, we had that Carnu chance, but they weren't really clear-cut chances. But the thing that stood out for me early was we looked nervous. We looked a bit overawed. I think people mentioned TC's touch was off. Every time the ball went up, it just wasn't stick. Godden couldn't really get into the game, and it just felt like we'd gone to a championship side, and we were playing like, we've really got a point to prove here, and it was playing on our minds. Like we just could not get that ball to stick up top in that first period.
And that's kind of what I meant by my answer to your opening question. We were just off. We were just off, and as fans going to that game, that's exactly the sort of game we want week in, week out. Right? I don't care if that game is in League One or the Championship, really, if they're all going to be like that, because it's a stadium comparable to ours. There's a big crowd there. I'm not so bothered about all the fire and the fireworks before the game and all that stuff, but you're playing a good team, 2 old Premier League teams, as Kerb said at halftime, which was a strange appearance from him. And so as fans, obviously we've gone in big numbers. We're not necessarily expecting to win, but we're like, can we just at least create and let's give it a really good go? And I guess that was my takeaway. I didn't feel like we gave it a proper go. And as I say, maybe that's because of what Birmingham did, or maybe it was because of an off day. But you're right, it was all those little things. Thierry Small, I don't think ever beat his man. Certainly in that first half, I just don't remember. Every time he got the ball and went to take it round him, he got tackled. Tyrese, as you say, just nothing stuck to him. And as Benji says, when the ball then came through the midfield to the likes of Berry, they were just making the wrong decision, or they were making the decision too quickly, or they were panicking. And we haven't been like that. And I thought in the second half, they started to settle a little bit. Obviously, Birmingham had taken their foot off the gas slightly, so maybe that helped. But I do think when we changed the shape, and when we brought Gilbert and Leeburn on and we were pressing at the end, we looked a little bit more dangerous. But yeah, it was just a tough game against a side, as I say, who were miles clear at the top of the league. And to go there and lose 1-0 just on the face of it, if people weren't at the game and we lost 1-0, you'd be like, all right, that's not bad. We haven't been hammered. We haven't been overawed, clearly. The stats largely not too bad. But when you're there, you're disappointed because we know what this team is capable of on a good day. So that was the frustration, really, as you say. And it just, the fact that almost everybody was off it in the same game suggests probably it was down to Birmingham really stifling us and not letting us play our game. And as I say, if that is the case, then against other teams, you'd hope we'd be able to impose ourselves a little bit more, and we can just look at this as a blip, hopefully.
Mickey says, morning all, disappointing result, but you have to applaud the lad for a great individual goal. But to be fair, Ashley Maynard-Brewer should make the save. He's conceded way too many of them this year. What's your views on Mickey's comments there, Ben?
Yeah, I disagree with that because he's caught in 2 minds in a way, like Gillespie was as Stansfield's approaching. They had 3-on-2. You don't know whether he's going to slot into the other 2 players that were attacking on goal. And look, he thumped the ball as hard as he could and he smashed it into the roof of the net. So I think that's harsh to blame Ash for that, to be honest. I know people will look back and think, oh, okay, it was near the middle of the goal. But I'm sure when you're in that away end and you're looking at it, you just think, whoa, you didn't expect him to hit it like that and as hard as he did. And as a goalkeeper, when you're you gotta be wary of him slotting one of the others in. You gotta be wary of obviously him shooting. He's a top goal scorer in the league. We know how good he is. But you just gotta put your hands up and go, look, it was our mistake from Coventry. He put his hands up. You realise that, but also the way he takes the ball forward with pace, little drop of the shoulder, smash it into the roof of the net. you just got to put your hands up and go, good goal, very good goal, good finish. And I really don't. I think that's too harsh to blame Ash for that, to be fair. And look, I'm not one of his biggest fans. I come on here and I think there's stuff that I don't think Ash does well. I think shot stopping is one of his best parts of his game. But I think lately he's been playing really well, hence the clean sheets. But yeah, I think that's too harsh to blame that for him yesterday, in my opinion.
I mean, another part of Ash's game that I think at times has needed a bit of improvement is perhaps decision making and knowing when to sort of make a dart towards the edge of the box. And certainly, I mean, one of my favourite rules about football is that the goalkeeper's only allowed to touch the ball with his hand when he's inside the area. But Ash doesn't agree with that rule at all, and you know. Nathan Jones said he didn't think he picked it up. To be fair, at the time, because from where I was in the stand, like Ash's body was in between me and the goal, so I thought maybe it was just on the line. That's what I think's happened there. And so I put that on Twitter, and I looked like an absolute moron when I saw the replay. I was like, oh blimey, he's miles outside of the penalty area. You can see how the officials have missed it, because you know if a body's in between you and you're not sure, then you can't make that decision. But I mean, there is a slight suspicion, Tom, that Ash might have just got a little fingertip on the ball, pretty much near the corner flag, compared to rather than in the area.
It's pretty 50-50, isn't it? I think it's hard to tell, but it's funny because so where we were was obviously the opposite side of the pitch, and so we're probably it's as hard as possible, I would say, from where we are to really tell whether it's in or out. And it looked miles out from where we were. So if we were calling that, I was the opposite of you. I couldn't understand how they'd missed it. But then as it turned out, I listened to Nathan Jones and he said it was in. So fair enough. So yeah, I'm prepared to accept that. I've seen the replays. I can't see anything that changes my mind on that. So yeah, fair play. But yeah, to go back to the point, and that's kind of what I was talking about earlier. And Benji sort of talked about it as well with all their chances. At halftime, I didn't feel it was unfair that they were 1-0 up. That chance that they did actually score was the one probably where we had opportunities to do better, and it's a very good finish. But there were things like that and like the other chances they had where probably 1-0 was fair at half time. So yeah, I mean, look, the standard of refereeing generally in League One is appalling, if not worse. The standard of refereeing yesterday I thought was terrible, not for either team, I didn't think, but just incapable. And that really summed it up. So when I see stuff like that these days, I'm just no longer shocked. It gets to the point where you wonder what the point of even having a ref on the pitch is sometimes. I don't want to go all Terry Smith, but it's just the fact that they can't make basic decisions like that. And it wasn't just that. There were lots yesterday again. But yeah, it was obviously good enough for Ash to keep him on till half time. But then sadly, because of the injury, he had to go off anyway. But at least it was a substitution rather than a red card.
Yeah, Isaac's asking if the Birmingham fan who referred me to Specsavers on Twitter had got my appointment in the end. Yeah, as soon as I saw that tweet coming in saying, I think you need to go to Specsavers, I was like, oh, I might have got this one wrong. And then I saw the replay, I was like, oh, blimey. All hell let loose saying, is it an automatic red if the keeper handles outside the box? Would it have been a yellow denying a goal-scoring opportunity? So because of where it was, I guess the angle was quite tight. It wouldn't necessarily have been a definite goal, so maybe would have got away with a yellow. But yeah, who knows? We'll never know. We'll never find out. Joe says Ashley hasn't made too many mistakes this season. It's a team effort as a whole. We win and lose. He's had a number of clean sheets. He was just caught in two minds in split-second decisions. And that also, you know, like I said, I thought that moment, right, obviously it was a bit of a bizarre one, but it just highlighted that we looked nervous. We looked a bit overawed in that first half, particularly, Ben, and that sort of summed that up for me. I think maybe we built the game up too much. You know, we'd beaten them before. We're on this great run. You know, we all went into that game thinking, you know what, we're going to give them a proper game. But I think because of the Birmingham we've seen this season, which was obviously one on an off day at the Valley, compared to the one I think that pretty much everyone else has played this season, I don't think we quite understood how far ahead of everyone else they are, Ben, until we saw it yesterday. Like I say, even if overall it was tight and it was 1-0, I just feel like we couldn't get close to them at times.
Yeah, I just think Mark mentioned it on Thursday's show, the way they played against Newcastle, and he said they're quite an aggressive side. And I wouldn't say they're aggressive because, there were 9 bookings in the game. That game was not a 9-booking game. That ref started booking people for silly things at the start rather than just pulling them over and having a little chat with them. And he had to keep carrying it on. it was ridiculous. But yeah, I think they're just a big physical side. I mean, you just look at their two centre backs with Clara and Davis, and you go, whoa, okay. And that Cochrane, I think he was probably the man of the match. The way he kept Small, like just so quiet and just was physical. Every tackle, I think they followed through on. They just were in our faces. They didn't give us any time to breathe and try and get our passing game going, trying to get it out to TC or Small. Yeah, I think you can say maybe a little bit scared. I mean, you look at what Ash was doing, and that's why I think it would have been a yellow, because it's in obviously his control, and then you're thinking, all right, what are you doing here? You're letting it run across your body, and then he just thought, oh, I'll kick it to myself in the box and dive on it, and it was just like, what are you doing? Either boot it up the pitch or play it to one of your players. So it just that you're right, that came from nerves a little bit as well. But I think because they pressed us so high every time we had the ball, they pressed us either into a mistake or we couldn't go forward. We had to go back and we couldn't find our threats on the pitch. So, yeah, I think Mark was right. We saw that performance against Newcastle. They're a physical side. They get in your face. And they did that from the off yesterday. I don't think they did that as much in the second half because, as you said, they were in control of the game. They had their goal. They 1-0 up. Then the other side of the game came out where every one of their players wanted to roll on the floor, roll off the pitch. Stansfield wanted to roll their players back on the pitch. But then, fair play, that disrupted our play. We couldn't get into a rhythm. And then when we did, one of their players then fell over again. So we couldn't then get going again. But look, that's the side of the game. We would have been doing the same thing. We're the home side. They've not lost a home game all season. So, yeah, look, we won't come up against the side like that again this season, I don't think now. We're not going to – that's the best. That's the best we're coming up against. And we've given them a goal from our – well, we haven't given them a goal because it was a mistake that led to a very good finish. But do you know what I mean? We shouldn't be disheartened. We should come away and go we'll learn a lot from that game, I think, from a young side that have only just been put together. You look at TC, Thierry Small, Connor Coventry – young players in that side, even the players we brought on, Carnu, Anderson, it is a young side, probably a bit naive as well, but yeah, they'll learn a lot from that, I think.
I think it might have been a bit of an eye-opener as well for anyone. I enjoy reading the forums. There's always loads of good stuff on there, but there's been quite a lot of conversation this week about which of our players can make the step up to the championship, and the reams and reams of players being listed on the forums and stuff. It's like I don't think we can get carried away with having a good run in League One and thinking that means we're aiming 5th or 6th League One. There's still a lot of work to do on this squad. As Paul points out, and as was mentioned, I thought Cochrane was the best nullifier. If you can stop Small and Ramsey, you go a long way to stop our best outlet, and that's what I think I said it at half time on Radio London yesterday. I was asked about what Charlton needs to improve, and I said the Smalls, like Cochrane's got him in his pocket, and that's why you could see at half time Nathan tried to switch things around. It was a bit strange how quickly things changed, because in the start of the second half we'd gone to. It was a bit of a debate as to what formation we went to. We thought maybe even gone to the box, but basically Thierry Small was playing in the middle in the middle of the park, just behind the strikers. We couldn't work out if that was a box or not. And then maybe even less than 5-10 minutes later, we then switched up again, and we think we might have gone back to the wing backs with TC then going out wide. But he tried different things, which he had to. But I think the only time we really looked like we might start to create something was when both Lee Byrne and Gilbert came on, and we had a little 5 minutes. That's when Dan Carnew had his shot from the angle. That's when Gilbert put in a couple of nice crosses, one of which Lee Byrne flicked on. But even then, we had 5 minutes, and then Birmingham just sort of restructured and did whatever they had to do and got back into their shape, and we just couldn't lay a glove on them. I felt the way they saw that game out was annoying because we let them do it. We played into their hands. Every time there was a chance for us to go in and give a tiny little bit of contact, we did it. It was naive, I think, in that last 10 minutes. We let them do what they needed to do. Yeah,
totally naive. And when the 8 minutes went up, I thought, here we go, just go for it now. That's much longer than I was expecting us to get. But you say, they managed the game brilliantly, and we fell into the trap. It's as simple as that. And you're right, it is naivety. On the changes, it's easy for me to say, and obviously Nathan Jones is far more tactically aware than I am, but they've both felt confused because when we went to the box, as you say, I thought actually for the 10 minutes we played with that box, if that's what it was, I thought we looked quite good, but I thought the personnel was wrong. I didn't think Thierry Small should have still been on in that position. And then when he then switched it back, I was annoyed that we went back to the other formation. But again, the changes that we made were strange for me. And as I say, it's nothing against Tyrese personally, but I can't believe Tyrese Campbell stayed on for as long as he did, because it just didn't look like his game, whether it was nerves, whether it was tiredness, whatever it was just having an off day. So I was surprised, because Nathan Jones, we've praised his substitutions a lot recently. There was obviously the one game where he made the subs early and we felt that killed our momentum, but then he learned from that. The next game, he didn't make them until very late. He's had changes where he's brought players on and they've made a difference. I wonder if that will just make him think now. Again, this is not me saying that I've got one over on Jones, because picking the same 11 every week has worked for us. But at some point, I feel like we're gonna have to do something different, because going back to the point around Small and Ramsey and TC, for all the good run that we've had, and it has been a brilliant run, we're quite one-dimensional in that way. We've got a way of playing, and we need to be able to change that up. And in the second half, okay, we still didn't really test them, but we proved we could play a different way, same as we did in the first or the reverse fixture. I just felt Jones got it wrong yesterday. It might have made no difference. Birmingham were the better side. They were managing the game by then. They probably would have gone on to win anyway. But it was a bit strange. It was a bit strange to change it and then change it again so quickly. And the personnel that came on and off, I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure it was really the right choices. But hey, if we'd have scored a goal at the end, I'd have been going Nathan Jones. What a brilliant decision to make all those changes. So it's easy for me to say in hindsight, but with the likes of Gilbert and Leeburn looking good towards the end, with the likes of TC looking, as I say, I think tired, but obviously I don't know. I do wonder if he's going to change it. We've obviously got a whole week now till Exeter, but then there are some more Saturday, Tuesdays coming up. So look, it's going to be an interesting run-in. And as you say, this was a bit of a leveller, because we have all been getting carried away with the run we've been on, and rightly so. We should enjoy it. We've got ourselves into the playoffs, or had. We've now had a bit of a leveller. Okay, let's see where we are off the back of that. Can we go again? Can we get a win against Exeter, which is a game that we should expect to go and win, and then kick on going into some of the tough games against the teams around us? Because as you say, I would have said I think we're anywhere between third and sort of eighth in this league. I don't think third is out of the question at all. But equally, I don't think eighth or ninth is out of the question. So I think we all thought second was probably a bit optimistic, although it was nice to see it on the graph, particularly whilst we're on that good run. But yeah, it is what it is. And yeah, I feel if Nathan Jones gets those changes right going forward, and I think more often than not he does, I think the people that we've got that come off the bench certainly don't bring us down a level at the moment in terms of the quality.
All hell that Luke says Birmingham's attacking midfield caused us a lot of problems, and Luke said, I thought Rotherham looks a better team than Birmingham. This league is so odd. I mean, like I say, I feel like there were more gears to go into, but particularly in that first half, I could see why Nathan wanted to do something in that middle of the park, because they had the run of us quite a bit. You know, the ball wasn't sticking up top. We weren't really winning battles in the midfield either, so he did try something different. I think that's why I brought on Anderson quite early, Ben's, just to try and put some steel in that midfield, because we just weren't winning the battles in there. But yeah, what did you make of Birmingham as a whole then? Just off Luke's comments there.
I just thought they're a very well organised side. That they've got big. I mean, they just seemed a really tall side, didn't they? I think because of their back two, and I think because we had Godden and then Kanu come on, it was quite hard to get through them. But you can't deny, I think they're so good on the ball. They're very quick. Even with our press, they still got round it. And I mean, that Dow, I mean, he's an exceptional player. Great free kick he had to hit the post. They've got some like exceptional players in there for this league. Whether they're like an Ipswich or someone that's been in this league before that kind of steamrolled the league and then went up from the Championship to the Premiership and now are like looking like they might stay on in the Premier League, I think they will have to bolster their side going into next season. But yeah, I think they're a very well organised side, and then did all the S-housery in the second half but as you said, we didn't lay a glove on them. But I think because any little time we had, I think they just, as you said, we were naive. They eked out the time by a bit of time wasting, a bit of S-housery. But also I think, yeah, they just very well set up, very well organised. And I think same with Tom there, with our subs, I would have liked to have seen the subs reversed, really. I'd like to see Leeburn and Gilbert come on first, because I think that was an opportunity just for us to mix it up. I think Karoy, you're right, is a runner. Kanu's a runner. They kind of press them, get in and around them, harry them a little bit. But you just think Miles matches up with their back two. When he came on, he had a couple of chances. That header that just went wide. And Gilbert's deliveries were, I thought, brilliant. A corner he put in was in a perfect position, and that cross for Lieber. And I just thought that would have mixed the game up a little bit, and they would have got a little bit nervous there, because if we would have had them on the pitch longer, it was something different. Whereas putting Karoy on, who's just a runner that forced them into mistakes, we then didn't have anyone to capitalise on that, because Small had come off, TC wasn't on his game, and then they ate that up then after that. Whereas then we saw it change when Miles and Gilbert come on. But as I said, I think we'll learn a lot from that game, but also we'll learn a lot. But you think we're not going to play a team like that again. So we can learn what we can take out of it, but also that opposition, the organisation of them, the confidence. I think the confidence oozed out of Birmingham. Like the Stansfield, our fans weren't even giving him grief. He goes and scores and cups his ear. Couple of players like rolling over, but then getting up and doing like a cheeky smile, like, yeah, that's what we do. And fair play to them. They did it. They did a number on us, and they didn't give us a sniff. So we can learn a lot from that. But ultimately, that's the best side in the league. So it's confidence from it as well.
Yeah, I think some of our fans were giving Stansfield grief, from what I've heard from that away end there. Obviously, I couldn't hear it myself in the press box. Yeah, John says, I think Gilbert has looked decent in the minutes he's had so far. A bit surprised he wasn't on the pitch a bit earlier. Yeah, maybe. Maybe, like I say, I thought him and Lieber, when they came on, looked good and caused a little bit of a change in the momentum of the game. Alex said he felt a little bit, to me, that Lieber was given an extra 10% effort when he came on, running a little bit harder, being a bit more aggressive. His normal demeanour is normally a bit more languid. I mean, Eric's saying that people are calling it a free hit, but we are now out of the top six and we've played a game more. Paul saying, only losing 1-0, that doesn't hurt the goal difference too much. We're out of the top six. We're down to 7th now, Tom. I mean, it's so tight that it's going to change every week. That's why, as fun as it is to get the graph out every week, it's a bit pointless at this moment in time, because it's so tight. Every week it's going to go up and down behind the line. Losing away at Birmingham is not going to cause anyone to lose out on their hopes for this season, because the majority of teams that go to Birmingham are going to lose. I think they've won 12 out of 15 at home and drawn the other 3. Okay, so it is weirdly, it is a free hit in that regard. The most important thing now is that we do what we did after Rotherham and we put it behind us immediately, and we come back with a good performance when we play Exeter next week, and focus on playing the teams that are League One teams and not a team that's a Championship side that just happens to be in League One at the moment.
Yeah, it depends on the attitude of the free hit. If you go there and go, it's a free hit, so it doesn't matter what happens, and then you lose and you're like, it doesn't matter, then that's negative. If you go there and go, okay, this is a real opportunity, but if we lose, we'd move past it, then that's okay. And I'm hoping that's the way that they've chosen to take it as players. You're right, there were late goals yesterday that affected it. Look, I don't know how, I haven't looked, but if you looked at the live table throughout the game, we probably changed places 3 or 4 times throughout the afternoon. That's going to happen. I know the other teams have got games in hand. So what? They had the games in hand anyway. It's not like we can change that either. And obviously, it's not like they're only going to play 1 game less than us all season. We have to play the same amount of games. We've got games against all the teams around us. That's the big thing. We've got Orient away. We've got Stockport away. We've got Huddersfield at home. We've got opportunities to take points off these sides. And as I said on Thursday, those points effectively then count double, don't they? Because if you can get them, they take points off them as well as giving them to us. So, yeah, this is not the game that was ever going to define our season. It was an opportunity to test ourselves, a little bit like Preston was in the FA Cup. It was an opportunity to test ourselves. I didn't feel like, to quote Nathan Jones, we gave a good account, did the best version of ourselves. I don't feel like we did that. It's interesting. You talked about the Birmingham maybe not doing that at our place. So maybe over the 2 games, we haven't really seen both teams at their best play each other. But either way, Birmingham are a better side than us. They're going to go up. We now have to focus on the teams around us, which, as you say, are at our level. And if we can get points off them, I'm sure some of them will have to go to Birmingham. I can see John's just said Orient are playing Birmingham. So, yeah, I'm sure some of them have still got Birmingham to play as well. So there's opportunities. If we go and lose to Orient, lose to Stockport and lose to Huddersfield, then you're looking at it very differently, and then maybe we don't deserve to go up. So those are the games that will test us. And this is why, as I say, if you count it as a free hit and you go, okay, we've learned some things from there, but we're not going to let it get us down, perfect, because we've been on a really good run of form and this shouldn't disrupt that. If you look at this like, we're not quite what we thought we were going to have a really good go and maybe we're not as good, then we're in a bit of trouble. So it'll be interesting to see. Nathan's got a week with them on the training pitch this week. I'm sure he'll give a lot of them a break because they've played a lot of football recently. And then let's see where we are next Saturday. But I'm not overly concerned about it at all. I thought to lose 1-0 and not play that well, we're fine. Let's go again next weekend. And if we lose to Exeter and then we lose the following week, okay, maybe we'll be having a different conversation. But at this point, there's nothing to suggest we're not still in that playoff hunt.
Yeah, as Dean says, the majority of teams in and around us have still got to play Birmingham. There's still a fair chunk of the season left to go. So, it's too early to focus on individual sort of results like that. When there's a run that we've had behind us that we need to try and pick up again for the rest of the season. Dave saying he thinks Jones will make a few changes for Saturday. Maybe Gilbert will get a start. Well, let's hear from the Addicts boss, Nathan Jones. I caught up with him. A pretty drizzly St Andrews after yesterday's 1-0 defeat against Birmingham City. It's a narrow defeat in the end here. What did you make of it?
Look, it took an error really to cost us, and I just didn't think there was much in the game. I just think we lacked a little bit of sharpness today. It's the third game in a week. They've given everything for 6 points. Coming to the league leaders, we knew we needed to be at our best, and we probably weren't today. I mean, look, they paid us massive respect because they're normally a fluid side, like to play out, but they were very direct today. They went into front, tried to bypass the press. So it's... yeah, just a little bit disappointed with our performance, but they've given me absolutely everything. It's the third game in a week, as we said, and we just lacked a little bit of bite. Our midfield wasn't that it today. I felt we lacked a little bit of a spark, and that thing. And then late on, we were kind of naive because they ran the sort of last 10-12 minutes down without really having to do anything, and that was a disappointment from us. Yeah,
had more territory in that second half, but Birmingham was so good defensively, difficult to create chances today.
Well, they are good defensively, but they're a good side. I mean, they've got a top 6 championship budget. They're well coached. They've got good players, so they are difficult. But we, with a young side, went after them. We were brave, we were bold. I love watching, what we do and the honesty we showed. But the honesty late on, we just probably needed a bit more guile, a little bit more cleverness, and we to create that clear-cut chance, and so we didn't. And it just showed today that we were probably lacking a little bit of spark because we've been excellent. But today we just weren't, and we needed to be at our best today.
And you mentioned the goal. You were disappointed with the way that came about.
Well, yeah, we've just got to clear that. We've got to deal with that first when they run, and then he shoots and scores from outside the box. It's a decent finish. Look, I think a couple could have done better with it, but it's just one of those things you can't give quality players. I mean, it's 20 million, so it's anyone else on the pitch might not have taken the chance, but if that's the margins between us and these, then we're not in a bad place.
Yeah, exactly. It's been a great run. It's one defeat like Rotherham. You've got to make sure you bounce back now.
Oh, absolutely. And as I said, it's a tough. We've got a real important set of fixtures coming up. We've got a week now where we can down them a little bit, and we're going to need that. We're going to need that downtime because there's a lot of people gone through a lot of big shifts and stuff, and we need to get them back and freshen them up so that we can go again.
And you have to take Ashley off at half time as he picked up something.
Yeah, he picked up an injury, which unfortunate. I think it's a groin injury. He did it in the first half, so we got to half time, so we didn't have to make a sub because we knew we'd need game changers to come on, and then that's unfortunate.
Just because I'm sure Chris will talk about it, the moment in the early stages when Ashley may have handled outside.
No, I mean, they made more of it than it should have been. I mean, I thought that was mental, and literally their coaching staff get an iPad and got a computer there. They can see it's clearly like inside the area, but generates a bit of atmosphere and so on, but nothing to talk about there.
Just away from today, obviously Andy Scott left the club yesterday. Just want to have a few words on what he's done for the club.
Yeah, look, he was sort of my first port of call when I came into the football club, and as I said, I wish Andy well. I've worked with him, had a close relationship with him. I can only say for the year that I've been here, for example, I feel we're in a much better position, and Andy would have played his part in that.
Are you going to be part of bringing in his replacement, or will there be a replacement?
Well, look, moving forward. We'll have news, we'll have appointments in certain areas. Because I said we want to build a football club, and that's a constant, ongoing thing. So look, it'll be a process of what we need and when we need it, and then we'll let you know then.
PSF Steel Limited is a trade supplier of steel fabrication and erection services to the new build, construction and refurbishment market in southern England. With their unrivaled depth of experience, they excel at providing their customers with high quality and cost-effective steel fabrication solutions. Their customers include national and regional house builders, such as Barratt Homes, Bellway Homes, the Vistry Group and Taylor Wimpey. They pride themselves on their service-based ethos and commitment to customer service excellence, which includes full technical backup and on-site services and support. If you would like more information, go to www.psfsteel.co.uk. That's www.psfsteel.co.uk.
Hello fellow addicts, I'm so excited to tell you all about our micropub, the River Ale House. The River Ale House is based in East Greenwich. It has 6 Pub of the Year awards, an ever-changing selection of amazing beer. It's owned by Charlton fans, walkable to the ground in just 20 minutes with buses that go direct to the Valley too. If your matchday routine includes a drink with your friends, you must join your fellow addicts in the river. See you soon.
Right, welcome back to Charlton Live. Just before the break there, we heard from the Addicts boss, Nathan Jones, on a lack of spark, perhaps, yesterday, Tom, up at St Andrews. I think he saw the same game I did there, other than maybe one slight incident. But, what did you make of what Nathan had to say on yesterday's game?
I think he just needs to manage the fans, and everybody does need, because, as I say, we've been on a very good run. And there's no denying that, but he doesn't want to make the game any bigger than it already is. So I think he was very focused on us. He says all the right things in terms of the Charlton fans around, the amount of money they've spent, the players that they've got, all of that sort of stuff, which I know the Birmingham fans don't like, but this is not about them. This is about us. So yeah, I think he played it relatively with a straight bat, other than as you say, one particular thing. I'd love to know what he really thinks of that, whether he genuinely believes that, or whether he hasn't seen it, or what, because he knows, well, if he has seen it, he knows it's going to get proven. But yeah, it was I think he said the right stuff about kind of resting the players. He knows they've worked hard, and again, he's just trying not to make too big a thing out of it, really. As I say, on paper, we've gone to top of the league, a team that are top of the league comfortably, and we've only lost by 1 goal. So, I don't think, it's like Curbs always said, don't be too up, don't be too down. And that's exactly how he's playing it, really. It's a shame. I think he admitted that the players weren't really at it. The midfield didn't have the bite, which is kind of what we'd said as well. So we go again on the weekend. Yeah, I mean, Mark saying is Nathan could have said we got away with one and say how poor the officials were, but he looks a bit silly saying it was outside the box. But I mean, John, the Birmingham fan, saying Jones is just playing up there. You could tell by his reaction on the touchline he knew they got away with it. I read the handball. Was he going for like a like a Mourinho sort of make it all about me? I'll talk about something that will get some headlines. I mean, I didn't massively go with it. I put it in the Ashley Maynard Brewer piece, but I imagine the Birmingham local press will pick up on it. And just take away from the fact that we lost and just make it all about Ashley Maynard Brewer picking the ball up outside of the penalty area. Maybe that's his mindset for that, or he just hasn't seen it. Like he's somehow not seen it. I guess it hasn't been given. He doesn't need to massively pay attention to it, Ben.
Well, yeah, and as we said earlier, I probably just would have been a yellow card and a free kick, because it wasn't a goal scoring opportunity. So I think that's probably why. And he's probably looked at it on the pitch and thought, oof, that looks close, and gone, well, I'll tell you what, I'm not going to bother looking at my laptop for that. But then obviously they were, rightly so, Davis got booked, and I would have been doing exactly the same as him at the time. He was going nuts. But fair enough, you see something so blatant and the linesman's just there, you think surely he's seen it. You're just bewildered as to how he didn't. At the same time, when you're the manager the other side of that, and you think, actually, would that have had a big effect on the game? Well, they might have blasted in the free kick, but they might have not, and Ash probably would have just got a yellow card. So you just go, it's one of those things. It's not a dreadful tackle where a guy should be sent off, or a blatant handball in the box where they should have a penalty. It would have been a free kick just inside the box and a yellow card for Ash. So I think Nathan's just saying it's not really a big deal as they were making out.
Yeah, lovely stuff. Right, Michael says Nathan is in denial. He's delusional and a liar after the comments on Ashley. Dudley says, I'm still concerned about how we perform away. Our team doesn't seem to be the same as they are at home, almost like they don't want to be there. Can't put my finger on it. I mean, our away form's not been awful. I mean, we lost at Rotherham, lost at Birmingham since the turn of the year, but we picked up the odd result here and there. Maybe not quite as strong as we are at home, but don't forget, I mean, we've only lost 2 games at home all season. We're very strong at home overall. We've won our last 4 or 5 at home. We're in good form, but Dudley slightly concerned about away from home. Are we a different side on the road, Tom?
I think every team is pretty much. I think you have to be. I think I don't know the stats, but it feels like our home record this season is better than it has been in recent years. I think maybe the slight concern is the fact that we've got a lot of the teams around us to play away from home. So obviously that's potentially a bigger issue, because we need to go to those teams and get performances. We've got Wrexham away, we've got Stockport away, as I said, we've got Orient away. I can't remember whether Wycombe's home or away as well, but yeah, so teams around us anyway. So yeah, we need to make sure we show up. But as you say, we've gone to other teams and got results this season. So we could have beaten Barnsley, all right. It would have been a slight smash and grab, but we could have beaten Barnsley. We did go away at the start of the season and beat Wigan. Blackpool, we were 2-0 up. Okay, we threw it away. So I get that these are not games we've won. But even those ones, we've been in positions where really we should have won it. So it's not like we've been completely outplayed by these teams. So overall, no, I'm not too concerned. As you say, our home form is good as well. And realistically, I don't care where the points come from, so long as we get enough. And when we look at our PPG and when we look at your graph, we're on track, and whether those points come from home or away, I don't really care, so long as we get them. So I'm not overly concerned, so long as when we go to the teams that are around us, we can put in decent performances. And as I say, so far over this season, I'd say more often than not we have. Of course, there's the Bristol Rovers and the Exeters and those sorts of games, but I feel like they're largely in the minority this season, whereas that has been the norm in recent years.
Right, McSquared's emailed saying we weren't expecting to come away from St Andrews with anything. That's how it panned out. It may have only been 1-0, but in fairness, it was a comfortable win. We weren't really able to put Birmingham under any pressure, and inevitably, it was their top-class striker that scored the only goal required. Furthermore, they even have the luxury of being able to use Alfie May as a backup striker. Birmingham are clearly a class apart from any other team in the division, and promotion is more or less a foregone conclusion. All we can do is lick our wounds and go again in the next match, in the realisation that no other side is likely to produce a harder test. Game on. And that's the way I'm sort of taking yesterday. Right, let's have a listen to what the Addicts skipper had to say, I think, after yesterday's game as well. Greg Docherty came for a quick chat after the 1-0 defeat up at St Andrews. Greg, it's a narrow loss here today. What did you make of the game?
Yeah, it was tight. Like you say, narrow defeat. Frustrating, never nice losing a game. I think we had opportunities, just didn't have that killer edge today, and that's the disappointing thing, I think, on our end as well, that we give ourselves opportunities to create, but we don't have that killer instinct today in that final bit. But you got to look like Birmingham. They had everyone behind the ball the last 10-15 minutes. They brought in 2 centre backs. They were defending for their lives, and we allowed them. The frustrating thing, I think, as well, we allowed them to see out the game. Too many sort of silly fouls, and we've been really good at that. And that's just the learning curve for a lot of people as well, and for us as a team. But again, we came here to a team that have got a lot of expectancy, and they should go on and win this league. So it's we can take credit from it, but it's just we always want more, of course. But perspective is we've been on a really good run, and we've put ourselves in a right good position going in the last 15 games this season. Yeah, had loads of territory in that second half as well, but Nathan said maybe just lacked a little bit of spark today. Yeah, I think so, and that's a frustrating thing. Probably could have had the ball down a bit more and just been a bit more patient. But that's the things that come with defeats, is you can look back and analyse it, and probably we'll be able to see that, and that's something we're good at as a team as well. We're good at bouncing back. I think this defeat, it's different to when we lost at Rotherham. Today there was loads of positives to take. Of course, you can learn from moments, but we came up against a good side today. It showed we're a good side, and we were backed by a brilliant away end, and they're really behind us now going into the last 15 games this season. Yeah, it took a great goal to beat you today. Obviously, Connor will be marginally disappointed with his part in it, but that's the sort of quality they have. They're going to punish any misstep today. Yeah, look, he will, but there's always 3 or 4 errors leading up to a goal as well. So it's we never look at it as one person scores a goal. That's not the case at all. but like you say, the guys, he's done really well, and he scored a fantastic finish. We just needed that little bit today. That's the bit we were missing. But loads to take from it. And like I say, we've got 15 massive games coming up, and particularly 2 home games coming up. We're still in full belief that we're heading in the right direction.
Yeah, and we saw the reaction to the Rotherham game. That was a one-off. You have to make sure this is a one-off in terms of results as well.
Yeah, and that's down to us. It's down to us, and what we've been good is reacting from, a negative result as a defeat. But we're disappointed we lost the game today. There's no doubt about it, and we wanted to come and take something from it with the form we've been on. And you could argue we could have taken something from it, but we didn't trouble the goalie enough, and we'll look at that. But we've got a week now to build up to Exeter, Barnsley to follow. So it's we're in a good place. We've got ourselves in a brilliant position from the Christmas period onwards. You're going to have bumps in the road. It's not always going to be easy. But 15 games to go. We're looking forward.
Yeah, and some of the sides we've got coming up as well. It's really going to be a defining part of the season. There should be some interesting games coming up.
Yeah, there should be. I think there's going to be there's going to be so many twists and turns. It's such a tight league. You look at the table today, how much it swings, but you're one win and one defeat from another team, and so what I will say is, again, we have put ourselves in a fantastic position going forward, and today's disappointment, we never got any points on the board, but we're now fully focused on getting points back on the board and in the right direction.
There we go. That's the skipper, Greg Docherty, after yesterday's defeat. I mean, I think said what we're all sort of saying now. You've got to draw a line under that one and start to think about next week. Some of the fixtures coming up, as Tom sort of mentioned there. I think Orient in a few weeks away. Exeter is obviously next week. I think we've got Barnsley soon. There's some big games coming up over the next few weeks, and like I say, we will test ourselves against sides that are nearer our level. Paul says they've done a Blackburn and they've bought the league. Good luck to them, and that's it's just a different kettle of fish now to Birmingham. Yeah, that's what they are. That's what it is. Let's draw a line under that. As All Hell Let Loose has said, we're running out of time to discuss Andy Scott. So you would have heard in the interview with Nathan Jones that I asked Nathan for his thoughts on Andy's departure. It sounds like it's been a while in the making. We have a very top-heavy management structure at the football club, and particularly when you've brought in someone who is now a manager rather than a head coach, and who likes to have a lot of say on the way the club is managed. You're going to want to have his own man in there. I mean, Nathan didn't really say anything controversial about Andy leaving, Tom, but I think Nathan's in charge, and I think therefore he's got to have a management structure that works with him. So he sounds like he says someone else might come in. But yeah, are you surprised to see Andy? Sad to see Andy go? What do you want to say about Andy Scott leaving?
I don't think I'm sad to see him go. I obviously don't really know enough about the inner workings of the club, but Andy Scott has certainly been the fool guy, if you like, or the one that's been held up as the one who's made all the mistakes. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know. But the amount of signings we've made since he has been here in a role that is involved in signings in some capacity, and how many of them have actually gone on to be good, it's a very, very poor ratio. So whether he's a scapegoat or whether it's his fault, I don't know. I can't imagine we're going to be worse off for not having him here. As you say, there is a lot of cooks at the top of this broth, if you like. And basically, I just don't know what his job is anymore. The ownership brought Nathan Jones in as a manager, so that was a conscious choice. Whether that was him forcing it or not, they still chose to bring him in and agree that he could be manager. And if he wants to be, then that comes with the authority to make a lot of decisions around who comes into the club and who plays for him. So if that's the case, then a technical director that you're not necessarily, that's not your choice, doesn't really make sense. Whether he brings somebody else in as well, maybe, or whether he chooses to just go with the rest of the structure that he's got, I don't know. But I don't really know what Andy Scott offered. I'm not going to sit here and say he's been appalling and he's the worst thing we've ever done for the club, because there's been far worse. But a lot of the signings we've made under Andy Scott while he's been here have not delivered. It's not alone in that. We've wasted a lot of money over the years. But I'd like to think that now we can kind of move forward and Jones can get in a structure that he wants, because if he is the manager, as I say, we have to back him. And you look at the changes he's making, they are largely positive. Not sad to see him go. No, nothing against him personally. I'm sure he'll go on and do well elsewhere. I just don't think it fitted, certainly anymore. And right step for Nathan Jones, which is the most important thing.
Yeah, and I guess also, I mean, you remember some of the managerial appointments under, obviously Michael Appleton will be the one that stands out, Ben. It wasn't exactly a sparkling achievement to bring Appleton to the club. It didn't, it quite clearly wasn't the right fit, but, he also had to work with the tools. I mean, there was a falling out with Dean Holden at the start of that season, which was quite obvious as well. I mean, whether people have been rubbed up the wrong way in that situation, whether Andy's the right person to have done that, or there's always a lot of guessing with what's going on behind the scenes at the club. But yeah, it wasn't actually. It's hard to see some sparkling achievements in that time when last season we had our lowest finish in 98 years. It was the lowest I've ever been as a Charlton fan last season.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm like, especially now we're sat here going, like it's such a shame we lost to Birmingham and that. But ultimately, we're in such a good position now. So we do look back at last season. We look at what went wrong. We look at signings that went wrong. We look, as you just said, about managerial changes. I remember Tom being as angry as I've ever seen him when Appleton left, and it just seemed such a jolt decision to go from Holden to Appleton to then nothing for a while. And obviously Nathan Jones coming in now and doing a really good job. So yeah, obviously we don't know the ins and outs of it, do we? You can hear rumours about Andy Scott said this, Andy Scott said that. I noticed he hasn't done many interviews in a while, because I think that's where he kind of that's what went wrong for him. He'd say a lot of stuff in interviews and then we just didn't see it play out. And obviously the main thing last season was the whole Dobbo debacle with him. Obviously, it sounded like he was part of the decision that didn't want Dobbo at the club and wouldn't offer him a good deal. And then obviously Nathan Jones came in and went, what's happening here? How can you not be offering him a deal? Right, let him scrap that deal at Hungary, and obviously forced it into the summer. And he obviously left and gone to Wrexham, etc. now. But that seemed a very strange decision, because us as fans saw someone that, okay, he wasn't our best player in terms of quality, but he gave it his all. He was fully 100%. He was a fan's favourite because he just left it all out there on the pitch. And in a team that wasn't doing well, we looked to him and thought, well, look, there's someone we can relate to. So, yeah, it's been a roller coaster again with this new ownership, but they seem to have settled things down lately. And replacing Scott now with someone else that aligns with our manager's thinking seems a good idea. But yeah, it's one of those things, isn't it, really, that someone always gets the fall. As I said, that Dobbo situation was probably the main part, but also we've some of the signings last January, you look at Gillespie, you look at Small, you look at Coventry, are now coming to be some of our best players in our squad. So we can take some good out of it.
I still think there's going to be more changes up top as well. There's been rumours that Jim Rodwell's going to leave for ages as well. So, I think more could change. I think Nathan Jones is a club builder. That's his role. I think he will take the credit for anything really that goes on with the club, because he'll put the places the building blocks in place to try and take us forward. We'll see. As all hell let loose said, didn't Scott say that failure wouldn't be accepted at this club anymore, and then he clearly failed, and that might be why he's gone. He's I do enjoy that clip. This has been a losing club for too long, and then we continue to lose and lose and lose and lose until this season we've started winning a few games. Lovely stuff. Right, we've run out of time on this week's Charlton Live, flown by as per always. So thanks for all of you who've got involved in the chat this morning. Don't forget to check out our merch store, charltonlive.etsy.com, if you want to pick up a Charlton Live mug, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you never miss another show. Subscribe on your podcast channels as well, so you can always get the show downloaded automatically to your phone when it comes out twice a week. Tom and Ben, thank you for your time this morning. Been a pleasure as always.
Cheers, lads.
Cheers, guys.
Good to speak to the pair of you. So I'm Louis Mendes. This has been Charlton Live, sponsored by PSF Steel Limited. Don't forget, we'll be back on Thursday, where we'll get ready to gear up for next Saturday's home game with Exeter City. We shall see you then.